Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Sister Wives season 11 review. And I just want to know why TLC is playing with us. Now, maybe the mistake I made was watching episodes 6 and 7 back to back, but I wanted to get ahead of my recording schedule. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything until later. Perfect time for me to do it. But here's the thing. TLC is playing with us. The title alone, Guide to Wedded Bliss. Is TLC playing with me on this one? Are they playing with us? Like, what are they doing here? Because at this point, when we're seeing this, one wife was so lonely she fell in love with an internet boyfriend. Another wife is so detached to the point where she couldn't even see Kody, didn't care about her or her kids until they made the move to Flagstaff. That's when the light bulb went off, making her not only detached from him, but detached from the things around her, including her own thoughts and feelings, which really makes me feel like these women were being emotionally abused little by little and picked apart to a point where they did not even see it. We have another wife that can't even get her husband to listen to her during something as simple as a relationship building exercise. We see him treat her at a childlike times like she's a nuisance and say disrespectful things to her like her hormones are off, knowing that she's had previous bouts of postpartum. And then we have the fourth wife who is pretty much tolerating him because she doesn't have an actual job and she needs his money in order to be okay. Where is the bliss? And why are we being forced to watch this? So I'm going to give a recap. That's probably going to be short and more of a summary than a recap, since this episode was over 2 hours long and it didn't give us anything new. What it did was splice 3 different things that were supposed to be meaningful together, and it just had me seeing more of the cracks than more of the meaningful moments. So we begin the episode seeing Kody excited about his guys' night with his non-polygamous friends. You are having guys' night for a polygamous marriage, yet all of your friends are your non-polygamous friends. Oh, and Logan at this, what should have been a bachelor party. Did they not come because of being on TV and they didn't want to be revealed? Or did they not come because they're not actually his friends? Logan, who is 16, points out that as he's sitting here, he's seeing that the men gossip more than any woman that he knows. Understand that even though at the time that may not have seemed like a big deal, looking back at it, I'm saying even Logan is noticing that his father gossips a lot, which means if he's doing this with the men who normally men aren't into the gossip in the way, well, let me not say that because men talk too. We'll just say this. The same way that he was sitting there and he was exposing things to those guys, he's going back to his wives and being a pillow princess and telling all those things too. He's sharing every bit of information, and I believe he's stirring the pot on multiple occasions by doing this, because there's things that the wives know about one another and know about their dynamics and their relationships that had Kody been keeping his mouth shut and been keeping things separate, they would not know. We see Robin opening her Kody survival kit that she got from the ladies, and it has things like heavy starch for clothing, salt, Q-tips, celery, and some other stuff that I'm assuming may have been for his hair. I couldn't tell based on the way that the labels were. Robin lets us know that it may come across like Kody is high maintenance, but if you look at Kody in all of his relationships, he tries to meet everyone's expectations as much as possible. I don't see what that has to do with Kody coming across as high maintenance, number one. Number two, I do not think that it's true that he looks out for all of his relationships. We now know that when it came to a lot of what the wives desired, his response was no. Christine wanted help from him with the kids while she was pregnant. She wanted him to tuck them away. He said no. She wanted to spend more time with him and wanted him to spend more time with her kids, and he said no. So that logic only applies to the bird. We can add Mary to it too, because he wanted to have a kid with Mary at one point. Then he didn't want to. Then when Mary was finally ready, and he was supposedly supposed to be ready to as well, he said no. So he finds a way not to meet his wife's needs. It's wedding day for the bird. And even though we're told time and time again how this is just about the spiritual aspect, they're really making this whole wedding celebration a big deal, to the point where they are more concerned about the reception aspect, in my opinion, than they were about the wedding. The Feather crew did not realize that the announcement was wrong, so Kody had to go out to the wrong address with this glass container that had the correct address change, that the bird was so excited to see us, and get balloons, put them on the jar, and put them at the address. If this had been a situation with one of the other wives, I know Kody would have made a bigger deal about it. But because he loves the bird so much, it's not a big deal. He would have pointed out this mistake, and we would have heard about it multiple times if it was another wife. But you all let me know what you think, because I don't think it was necessarily an issue with the company. They only put down what you tell them to put down. And it was a major thing because they went on opposite ends of wherever they were supposed to have the reception. So I think this was due to Robin and Kody. But Kody is okay because he lets us know that he's 12 today and he doesn't have a care in the world. We see the girls and the other wives at the salon and they're getting their hair done. And Madison points out how this is the first time that this has ever happened, that they've all gathered as ladies and went to the salon. So was it that they weren't able to go before as a family to get their hair done, or was it that they just didn't do it? Because I'm thinking that they were able to do this because TLC came along and they had extra funds. There's a lot of stuff that happened for this family financially because of the show. Some of us like to act like the show is what caused them to break up. And I'm not saying that it didn't have, help in it, but I don't think that it was just the show, which got me to thinking. Yes, it has to be hard putting your life on camera. I'm a little reviewer, and there's things that I just am not going to put on camera because I'm very aware of the things that I put out there. I understand that I have a son, and I, number one, don't want to embarrass him. And number two, he doesn't want his face all over my YouTube page. And I can't do anything but respect that as his mom who's concerned about his well-being. I think doing this show brought out things that this family previously never discussed, and I don't think that they thought about the way it would affect their children. Christine even admitted that they had discussions on the couch in front of the cameras that they never had together alone as a family. Christine lets us know that when she read the book that they wrote, which if you haven't listened to it, go ahead and feel free to listen to it. I have it, on my playlist. That the first time she found out that Kody wasn't attracted to her was through the book. So the man didn't even have the common decency to tell her that he wrote about it. And the other wives knew about it before Christine knew about it. They were able to see the inner workings of some of their marriages that they hadn't seen before and hear things that they never discussed. This supposed spiritually connected family, in my opinion, never dug deep. They spent a good portion of their marriages trying to do that, trying to avoid it, because digging deep for them resulted in conflict. They chose to do this show, so I'm not going to blame the show solely. Who I'm passing the most blame in is the parents. I think that divorce for them was bound to happen. Now, maybe some of the other things weren't, but divorce definitely was. It was inevitable that once they brought Robin into the picture, that they were going to implode at some point. We hear how crazy the day was, and Robin says that she's sitting there in the bathroom getting ready for her marriage, wondering why she's alone and why she didn't plan for this better. She's alone because she wanted to be alone. Don't act surprised about why you're alone when you wanted to be alone. The wives say they only got pedicures and their hair done because Robin suggested for them to do it. If she would have said, hey, you all, I need you all to come over and get the kids, then they would have been happy to do that. But she didn't want them to come and get those kids. Those kids, in my opinion, were not really allowed to be around the mothers for extended periods of time without Robin, because as I've said before, Robin is very much so a helicopter parent that has isolated those kids and prevented them from having normal socialization skills because of how overbearing she is when it comes to them. Look at it. They still aren't really allowed to be alone. McKelty said on her Patreon that they aren't even allowed to come to her house. So there are things. Robin's the reason why. It's simple as that. Mary's helping Kody get ready as they play this seductive music in the background. He looks at her and he says, hi, you look really pretty. She says, thank you. So do you. And in this moment, I can see her adoration for her husband. And he also looks like he cares, which makes me wonder, is this a part of when Kody was acting, or did he really feel that way? Let me know what you think down below. He leans in and they eventually kiss. I don't know if it's the music that's making me feel the chemistry or if it's truly their interaction. But in that moment, I felt like there was something there. Mary says, I wish it was my wedding day, and they chuckle. There is clearly a love fest going on there. While they're having this love fest, Robin is at home struggling with her misbehaving children. They understand the seriousness of this day, and they're fighting with each other behind her while she's putting on makeup, and she's telling them to stop. And then they get outside and they're locking her out of the van, and they're doing all of this. And I said to myself, there's no way that this would be tolerable. If I have to keep on talking to you and telling you to stop and don't do that, please believe at some point, whether it's before the wedding, after, or during, you will be punished, because there's no way. I don't know what that punishment will look like. Maybe you got to sit down a little bit while we dance, but you're not going to do this when you know better. All of them were of age to know what stop meant. Kody is laughing as she's saying this, and there's nothing cute about disobedient children. It's not. Yes, they're human. They're going to act up sometimes, but she was talking to them entirely too much. And it's obviously something that they did, because normally when cameras and stuff like that are around, you kind of tone it down. At least in my household, if I'm out in public, not when I was younger, if I was out in public, I got the pep talk before we even went anywhere that I better not embarrass my mom. And it was just known. My dad, he didn't even have to say it. It was just known. There's just certain things that I'm looking like, okay, these kids really have always controlled the narrative, and they run that household. The religious ceremony, we're told, is sacred and it's beautiful, and there were tears and there were hugs. But Kody feels like the reception is going to be even better because this is when everybody gets to come, including us, because this is when TLC was able to film. Kody was really looking forward to partying on TLC's dime. So we see them take the family photo and them seeking Mary's help because Mary is considered to be the perfectionist. They like that she's a perfectionist when it's convenient for them, but they hate it at other times. We see Brianna, per her mother's words, being a prima donna, and she's still a prima donna. I will not forget how when they looked at the trailer thing that Janelle decided to get and put on Coyote Pass while she attempted to have some form of work being done on the property, how they came in there and they joked about how small it was and how snooty they seemed when they talked about where Savannah would be sleeping and how they thought that it was a place for the dogs to sleep. These people went from sleeping in a trailer with no heat on to thinking that they're better than the people around them when her little prima donna tale is in the $1 million home that she's in because of the sacrifice of those other moms, not because of anything that Robin did, because the Sister Wives Closet was a bust. The only thing Robin has been successful at is scoring Kody and being on this show. We see Robin get the colada ring and she fake cries about it. I want to know how many times we've actually seen Robin shed real tears. I mean, an actual tear fall, because she makes the faces like she's crying. She makes the sounds like she's crying, but I don't even see the tears. And I know sometimes, you get emotional without crying. I'm not saying that in order to be emotional about something, then you have to have tears flow. But if you're going to make the faces and make the sounds, then I expect to see a drop or two. I mean, that's the least you can do. Even though he's been married now for 4 times, Kody acts like he doesn't know he's supposed to cut the other part of the cake and save the top for later, which shows how much he paid attention. Kody says this thing is really a coming out party for them. It's the first time they can all be in a room as the polygamists that they are. Basically, they've gone public now and the cat's out the bag. I think they should have came out as polygamists first before they had this major event. We know in the book that this major event was supposed to be the beginning of the show, but they changed it per request of Robin and the others. They didn't want it to just make it about her. They wanted to make it about the whole family. But, I mean, whatever. It's the end of the reception. Kody is walking each wife away. When he is with Mary, Robin sees them, begins to walk off. Mary signals her to come back so they can hug. And this is her welcoming Robin into the family. Robin, as she's talking about this scene, gets choked up again. Let me remind you, once again, there's no real tears. Christine says, I look forward to a big house like what we have now, with all of us living together in our separate quarters. I would love to know what changed for Christine. Janelle sees them all sitting at the football games and things of that being in graduations and celebrations all together, the 5 of them. Mary says, right now, I would call them my best friends, and I look forward to the time where we're so close we don't want to live without each other. You can see on Janelle's face that she does not feel that way. Pretty much every word out of their mouths during Robin's episode, now looking at it, to me, was a lie, and I feel like Mary really craved them. Now we're on to the commitment celebration. And Kody lets us know that they've been planning for this for 6 months. I think back to those episodes and how Mary kept saying that she felt like they needed to work on different things as a family before the commitment celebration. And I see why she felt that way now more than ever. This was once again just a way for them to make us believe that they were in a better place than they were, because after all, they spent over a year apart from each other, and now they have the houses, and even though they're mortgage poor and all those things, they're all together at the end of this cul-de-sac. Christine had gotten over some of her jealousy. Robin had a baby for him. Janelle and him were in their honeymoon experience. And Mary, well, Mary, to me, she was just there. Kody says their covenant is for eternity. But Kody, you're lying, because as we can clearly see, it's not. And you didn't do your part with the covenant. I don't know what their ceremony said that he's supposed to do, but I know that Joe Darger has said, and some of you don't like him, but one of the things that he said is that they are supposed to work on it together. And he feels that Kody is to blame for the reason why his house is divided. Mary's mom and sister are helping to prepare the meals. Her mother says, I do all the math and eventually everyone does what I say. I never realized it until really watching this just now, literally just now. Mary had a lot of characteristics of her mother. She spoke her mind and she knew what she knew. And I was sitting there listening to her talk, and I said, this is like listening to Mary talk, which also made me pay attention to the tone of her voice. Mary doesn't keep sweet the way that some of the wives do. But you all let me know what you think. I just noticed that her tone is more blunt. It's not, the demure, like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do, it's like, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to make sure, like, it's just a difference in her tone. And even that sometimes can be taken as aggressive. I feel like there were times where Mary may have been what they deem as aggressive, but I feel like sometimes it was just how she was perceived. I don't think that she was as bad as they made it seem that she was. And it's because all of them were accustomed to doing things a certain way, whereas Mary grew up with what we see in her mom. We see the mission statement on the canvas outside, and we hear that they're going to sign another one. As they put the statement on display, the easel falls. Excuse me. They catch the board, and Christine wonders if this is indicative of what is to come. I'm sure she didn't mean it like that at the time, but that's exactly what happened. This family literally falls apart shortly after all of this, especially when they decide that they're going to up and move. We see Sam, not Mary's Sam, but Sam, who is the seamstress, struggling with trying to do the 4 dresses in 3 weeks. Althea, who is Sam's mom, ends up coming to help and saves the day. She ends up completing 2 of the dresses, which are Christine's and Janelle's. Janelle's dress ends up being the prettiest. The shape of it was very flattering. I didn't care for whatever was going on in the back, but the front of it looked beautiful. The royal blue is my favorite color, and it looked beautiful on her. Robin even lets Janelle know that the dress makes her look really thin. I don't think it was just the dress. Janelle at that point had been working hard and working out a lot, and that was her first time actually getting a garment to fit her body rather than her just going in the store and picking out a size. Because I may be a certain size, but other parts of my body make me maybe have to size up or size down. And with that, she was able to have it made for her body. Christine's dress was okay, but I absolutely hated the colors that she chose. To me, it wasn't a color for her. Mary's dress was okay, or as Kody later described, it's fine. Kody likes to lie because fine doesn't imply that you like it. And for some reason, all of Mary's clothes seem like they're too tight. Even the white cover up that she had. I'm like, okay, I know that I got big arms, but she looks like her arms are suffocating. Go up one size, boo-boo. Seriously. And this is coming from someone who has big arms and a fupa, and I understand how certain garments fit. It may fit nice in one area, but it will jack you up in another. And Mary didn't have a loved one around to let her know, because even her friend that was with her, I was looking at her when she tried on the dress in the store. I'm like, why aren't you telling her that you could see the whole imprint of her stomach? That's not cute, especially in a dress that flows. You shouldn't have seen any of that, which means she needed to size up. Your stomach will thank you later. Mary said it took her 59 minutes and the dress cost $59. We then see Maddie, Leon, McKelty, and Aspen plan a surprise for their parents, or they're going to say something nice and give them a flower. It's the day of the ceremony. Kody is struggling to put up the lights because he sucks at everything. He ends up having other people finish the task for him so he can relax. We see Robin, and she's putting on a dress that she already had because Sam told her to, because the other dress that she had was not flattering to her body whatsoever. We see the tree cake delivered, and from now on, we know that the tree is going to be their thing. Janelle comes out, and she kills it. Kody says, all that work in the gym is paying off. Her confidence did change along with her body while she was in the gym. They take family pictures, and Kody is making it uncomfortable. The truest side of a person comes out to me in those type of moments, those moments where you're under pressure. He's the one, along with his wife probably, who wanted to take these pictures. So he needs to suck it up and take the pictures. As he's making these faces, the bird makes an excuse for it. But the only thing that I feel like we were missing was the steam coming out of his ears, because he really was sitting there acting like he was getting revved up and telling, look at the camera, smile at the camera, don't look at me, you're doing all this other stuff, telling him not to look at you while you sound like you're about to explode in the back. We see Kody walking down the road as the kids are standing there ready to go in, giving them a pep talk, and he doesn't even know how to do that right. He calls one of the kids a diva, and they're like, a diva? I'm not a diva, and he changes it to princess. Nobody wants to be called a diva, at least not in that moment. Janelle talks about how when she gets the paper to read, what I guess the meaning of everything that they wrote, she just wants to focus on getting her words out correctly. She does, but the bird who comes directly after her is struggling. I knew as soon as she was given that microphone that she was going to fake cry. I don't know if she was fake crying because she was stumbling over her words, or if she was fake crying to try to evoke emotion out of the people, but some people in the audience were crying while she was fake crying. We're told that she wears her emotions on her sleeve and how she's just very willing to express them. This is told to us by Kody. I don't buy any of it. I do not think that Robin is the emotional one. I believe that Christine is the emotional one and was the emotional one. But Christine's emotions, and even Mary at times, because there were a lot of times where Mary cried, they annoyed Kody. Whereas with Robin, it was enduring to him. Why is that? Kody talks about how when he first married these women, he doesn't think that they knew how important their relationship was going to be. So with him saying that, I'm feeling like, okay, then you all, including Kody, failed from the beginning. One of the things that we were told in the Darker book, Love Times 3, is that it was very important for the wives to establish their own relationships as well as their relationship with the husband, because even though they were separate, they still were connected. Why didn't Kody know this? Why didn't the wives know this? They plant the tree as a symbol of them permanently being in this place, and Robin says it. These are the words that come right from out of her little birdie mouth. But it's not what happened, because much like they left Utah to move to Vegas for, I believe, Robin, because it just so happens that out of all places you move to Vegas and her mom and dad aren't too far. But then you leave there to go to Flagstaff, who also benefited Robin because that's where Dayton was supposed to be going to school. But that's just my opinion. You all tell me yours. The kids say how grateful they are. And as Brianna is giving her spill, you see Robin mouth, "That's you." Robin really managed to erase their biological father out of their lives, and now she's erased the other siblings and the mothers as well. I don't know if you all saw the post that I put up on my community board from the memorial service that was done by Garrison's, I think it's his platoon. I may be saying the words wrong, but in the National Guard, the people that he served with, they did a service in Nevada for him. And on the front row, you see a good portion of the family. On the second row, you see another. In both pictures, now the one I posted, I don't think I posted up the one where Mary was at, because Mary was there too. But I didn't see Robin's children. And you all let me know if you saw them, but I didn't see them. And we also know that Robin's children didn't go to Gwen's wedding. So why is it that they aren't around? It's because, in my opinion, Robin has created this division and it has caused them to be split. Hunter says that they are more of a family unit again now, that they're all together. Did you all notice that there was some color coordination going on? Now, it did look like Kody was coordinating with Janelle's family, but that was mainly because, in my opinion, they have a whole bunch of boys, and we know that he picked out the outfits for the boys. But Robin's family was wearing purple, and Kody's tie had a lot of purple in it. So he coordinated with Robin and he coordinated with Janelle. Just something that I noticed. Kody says he may have to read the mission statement once in a while to remind him of the commitments that they have made. And we know that that all went out the window because by season 17, I don't even think he wanted to hear it. We then have Maddie's wedding. I'm not going to highlight much about that because we literally just watched it. Go watch my previous review if you want to know the breakdown of it. I felt like, did they really do this when the original show aired? Like, was this directly after Madison's wedding, or are we missing something? Because I know I've been told that certain episodes were not put on like some of the networks. Like, I watched the old shows off of Max, and I feel like that was because of copyright issues. So is that what happened here? Bottom line, Caleb and his family are wonderful people. Maddie is all in love and has a good man. And Kody made the wedding more about himself and writing vows that weren't good. To me, the title of this show should be A Guide to Dysfunctional Marriages. It puts things into perspective. Oh, Lord, I done clicked on something. It puts things in perspective when you look at where they were when they first appeared on our screens as to where they are now. The change in them appeared to happen quickly, but it really didn't. That dysfunction of their relationship had been building beneath the surface for years. They all, even as early as 2016, became shells of them former selves. Mary appeared to be so happy at the beginning of the marriage of Kody and Robin. She still even seemed smitten with Kody in the episode and in love. Back in 2016, she seemed to barely get through the show. She was either there, wasn't involved with the episode, or she just seemed like she was going through the motions. She's sitting on this couch looking like she wishes to be anywhere but there, actually having a loving husband that cared about her and treated her well when he didn't. Robin isn't looking as youthful, even as early on as 2016. I see her now, and she looks the same age as some of these ladies that she used to age and body shame. Kody may complain during these years, but he was happy as long as he had the show, because at this point, that's what it was about. I think that their marriages really dissolved, not because of the show, but because of Kody Brown and the steps that the families did not take. You all, Thank you so much for joining me. I tried to do as best as I could with this. I didn't want to bore you with the inner details of things that we've watched so many times. Let me know your thoughts down below. Until next time.